Good morning, everyone. This is John for MTG Nexus, both here on Twitch and later on the YouTubes, playing some Jund Midrange, as the new season for Magic Online has finally started, hence why we've kind of waited. I wanted to stream some of this yesterday, but Magic Online was shut down for the reset of points, etc. So here we are, streaming back with some Jund Midrange. This deck's a little bit different than some of the versions we've been playing. Inspired about a week and a half ago by a version that was playing Ashiok Dreamrender in the main. Had a few different cards in the sideboard, which we'll get to. Beyond that, not a whole lot different in the main. One thing we are going to be missing is a copy of Maelstrom Pulse. We really have 2 copies of Assassin's Trophy and 2 copies of Kolaghan's Command to kind of make up for that at the moment. Beyond that, you got your 24 land package with a couple Nurturing Peatlands and a Barrenmoor, very similar to the last version we played, to kind of take advantage of Red and 6 here. 3/3 split on Push and Bolt, 4/2 split on Inquisition and Thoughtseize, 4 Goyf, 2 Skoos, 2 Kroxa. While Kroxa is an amazing card, I do think Scavenging Ooze has a place in the deck, especially as a way to kind of counteract Uro and such. Beyond that, you have a couple copies of Ashiok here. This kind of serves as double hate in a couple spots. This can slow down some of the control decks with their fetch lands and such, being able to get Mystic Sanctuary and things, as well as sometimes those games go really, really long, and like even one Ashiok can be enough to kind of win the game in certain spots. Only 3 Bloodbraid Elves in this particular build. Once again, kind of having to find a spot for the Ashioks, but other than that, main deck is pretty much your standard fare of Jund. Sideboard, we're running the One of Klothys. This is a card I definitely wanted to test some more. Ashiok, obviously pretty good in some other spots. Decent against the graveyard decks, not great, but it's a slow burn along with Scavenging Ooze. 2 copies of Infernal Reckoning in case we run into any type of Eldrazi, pretty much. Also decent against Tron in some spots, being able to take care of Wormcoil Engine, which could be problematic. 1 copy of Obstinate Baloth to pair with your 2 copies of Collective Brutality. This is primarily your anti-burn package. A lot of people are running like Huntmaster of the Fells in this slot. I think Baloth is fine. Gives you a little more life gain on the front end and a bigger butt on the back end. 2 copies of Choke and Boil, pretty decent against all the blue decks running around, especially against Snow and Euroza. 2 copies of Pillage when you need a little bit more of like a Fulminator effect without being vulnerable to Veil of Summer, and then 2 copies of Plague Engineer to kind of round out your anti-aggro package. So that said, let us hop into a league and see how this goes. Sorry it's been a couple days since we streamed this. I did get a little bit of stuff done in regards to some historic content that should be coming out in the next day or two. Did a Jund Walkers League before it went off the ladder. Already a bunch of people with some 5-0 finishes. But amazing how quickly people get 5-0s after the reset. Of course, it's been probably about 12 hours since the reset. It came back up around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So, do have work later in the day, so this is going to be fun. I didn't intend to quite get up this early, but that's life sometimes. But didn't want to stream this league before I went back to sleep for a couple of hours at least. But hopefully the queues won't take long this morning, considering it is 4 o'clock Eastern time. The only thing I'm not quite sure about this build is, obviously the loss of the 4th Bloodbraid kind of sucks. Maelstrom Pulse kind of sucks, not having access to that. Another thing is I did see an interesting version with the new what was the name of that card? The new companion where someone tried to take a Jund list with this particular card. Sounds pretty reasonable. Kozilek into Renin 6. So, especially since we have the what are we up against? Tron. Tron with Natty Tron. Seems about right. Guess we at least have Assassin's Trophy to blow it up, but still going to be in a rough spot here. Obviously would really love to draw a Tarmogoyf or something. Obviously, we're going to have to take next turn off to Assassin's Trophy their land, which doesn't feel great, but that's life. They found an Ancient Stirrings. As much as I want to get this value off this run here, I think I'm supposed to do that. Draw step, do this. Obviously sucks not getting a threat into play right now, but now they have another copy of mine, so we have to do this one. Yep, and they're immediately have Tron next turn anyway, so I got the wrong land there. I was meaning to get a green source to get Scavenging Ooze into play here, but I don't think at this point it's going to particularly matter. Like, somehow Renin 6 has to go unanswered for another 2 turns. For us to trophy them off multiple lands. Oh, stone. Yep. Alright, we can go ahead and see if we can see here. No, we have a card in hand. Tron. Definitely want the copies of Pillage. Probably interested in Ashiok, even though it's not the best in the matchup. And then could bring in at least 1 copy of Infernal Reckoning, maybe 2, to to answer Worm Coils. Fatal Push isn't particularly good in this matchup. Bolts aren't particularly good either, but they do at least threaten Planeswalkers and such. Just bolts here. Feels like it's just cut bolts. A lot of our other cards aren't great, but then again, Jund's usually a pretty terrible matchup, and then with us hedging so much against the blue-white decks, or we just don't have enough, or against the blue decks, we just don't have enough tools really to kind of leverage what's going on against them. So I think it's kind of hope to blow up their first Tron version and then go from there. But definitely not the best matchup for Jund. Never has been. And we had kind of a Jundish start. We had an Inquisition into a Wrenn and 6. Inquisition into Goyf would have been better, but I still don't think that would have gotten there quite that game with our opponent having Natty Tron plus even with blowing it up, they had a way to find it. So that's the thing with Tron, is you have to back up your obviously no lander, so it's a mulligan. This hand isn't great. Realistically, how does going to 5 like affect our chances of winning against Tron? I think we'll keep this one, bottom the Bloodbraid Elf, and kind of hope to get a little bit lucky here. They kept on 6, so they'll probably have turn 3 Tron, so yeah, most likely. Do I go Goyf here or do I go Kroxa? I feel like I'm supposed to go Goyf. I'm going to end up shocking that in anyway, so I think we're not going to really be able to do a ton against them. Kind of hope their payoff is turn 4 Tron. Their forest, sure. Doubt this is gonna hit. Oh wow. Actually hits. Bring in Nature's Claim. That's an interesting one. We'll probably pitch the forest would be my guess here, but why wouldn't you just use one of the maps? Alright. Infernal Reckoning in case they rip Tron, so... Alright. Who says Tron players aren't lucky? Alright, at least got there in Game 2. Game 3 is going to be a challenge, I imagine, on the draw. Klothys is slow, Balos slow, Choke and Boil, no particular targets. Bolt and Bolt are Plague Engineer, If we were on the play, I think there would be more consideration for whatchamacallit. I think we are definitely keeping this hand. We really just hope to rip pressure. We have the disruption potentially. Hopefully Pillage will get there before. Okay. It's a decent chance Thoughtseize could actually miss here, but I still think I'm supposed to cast it. Stirrings and Scrying. So the problem is, like, if they rip a Tron land, then Scrying is a guaranteed thing, whereas Stirrings is just kind of a maybe. Still think I'm supposed to take Stirrings there. Scrying, obviously, not great for us. Alright. Of course they rip it. I mean, we've clearly got the disruption, but we really need the pressure too, so. We also notably don't have the mana to cast Pillage. And the odds that Inquisition misses probably pretty high. So bad. We're going to be popping off Peatland here, looking for a red source. Alright, so they searched up tower, so I guess we blow up tower. But now we really need some pressure. Go away for a Bloodbraid Elf. Why did they concede? Sure. I guess. I should be thankful, but like... that felt like a... definitely felt like a premature concession. But Miguel's doing well in the prelim. He's playing Erosa. I don't think I would have the... I don't think I would have the... not even the stones, the patience to play that deck in like a billion blue mirrors in the prelims. Just feels like a really, really miserable time to be playing Euros and a bunch of blue mirrors. There's a prelim that started at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A buddy of mine, or at least a acquaintance of mine from the local Magic community, has been on a player's tour or two. I was grinding in the prelims. I thought about it. If I would have gotten up before 3, I probably would have done it, but knew I needed to get some Jund content out, so here we are. Lucky, a little bit lucky to win against Tron there, not going to lie. Didn't exactly have a lot of Tron hate. 2 trophies and a pillage kind of bailed us out, or a trophy and a pillage bailed us out there. What does this hand even do? So we have no red mana. Is this hand keepable with no red mana? Sure. This is definitely a gamble. Trophies are our only real interaction. Earth. Feels like we're up against one of them. They're blue decks. Yep. Probably Bant Snow. Yep. Alright, I mean, Thoughtseize isn't the worst here. It's not the best either, but Coatl and Archmage's Charm. Guess we take that. They'll play Coatl. Yep, here comes Uro Claws. I mean, at least we have a Tarmogoyf, right? Yep, we kept a bit of a risky hand, didn't pay off, so now they're getting to the point where they're likely going to be able to control the game. Feels like this is obviously a little aggressive, but literally the only spell in my hand I can cast right now. Alright, moving on. So yeah, I have a lot of great spells in my hand, but we've gotten to the point where the blue deck just kind of takes over from there. So definitely want these ones. Could potentially consider Clothis. Pillage, maybe. Plague Engineer, probably, against snakes, particularly. Brutality, we could consider. Push isn't that great in the matchup. I guess we should leave like one push in, maybe, just to deal with some amount of Uro on the front end if we can't kill it. Is it crazy to cut some number of Tarmogoyfs in this matchup? Maybe we should have a Goyf, a Goyf 2. Try like this. Alright, we have no discard spell, but double run and 6 feels pretty reasonable against them. Like, literally the only card they could have against it is Force of Negation. Make sure to fetch likely an Overgrown Tomb here. Be able to cast Ren and cast Liliana. And we also generally want to leave our basics in our deck as much as possible, because they do have Path and Field of Ruin. I think we just jam here. They 2-for-1 themselves for this Ren. I was perfectly fine with that, I think. The only question is here is, do we Inquisition or do we just jam Liliana? Like, obviously there's more spells that they could have access to on turn 3 than turn 2. Inquisition here. Once again, could be incorrect. It could be possible we were just supposed to jam Liliana. It looks like they have something. Could be just Coatl. Arrow, Path, Exile, and Archmage's Charm. Make sure we get a red source here. So it looks like Liliana would have resolved. Just gonna arrow, so we don't. One of the cards in their hand is a Path Exile. So Liliana is quite likely to resolve unless they happen to have drawn Force plus blue card. Verdant here. You have 2 cards in hand. Okay, cast another arrow, sure. Should we fetch a green source here? Yeah, scavenging units can kind of go to town. Pitch the mountain, I guess. Get back. Verdant. Okay, Verdant. Crockett. Grab. Stomping Ground, I guess. This. Play Ooze. Eat 1 arrow. Eat another arrow. Alright. I think it's crazy, but I'm going to cut another Goy for an Ashiok. Still don't know about 1 copy of Fatal Push even. That might even be too many. But who was it that I saw? I think it might have been Aspiring Spike I saw cutting Tarmogoyfs against Bant Snow. Which makes some amount of sense. It does make their Path Exiles and stuff significantly worse. Do I keep this hand? Hand's a little slow, but obviously this is going to be a grindy matchup anyway. Yeah, there's an Astrolabe. Ashiok's not a terrible one here. What do I lead on here? Could very well be a Coatl in addition to many other different plays out of their deck. So I mean, trophy's okay here. It's not like great. Like, we're not gonna actively use it on a Coatl here at the end of turn. Which is exactly what it looks like their play is. Alright, so we're definitely playing towards that boil. The question is, I think we just pass, plan on Kolaghan's commanding here if they tap low for something. Grab. Target player discards a card. Do I care about them discarding a card right now? Actually, I screwed up. I should have boiled there. I should have boiled there. Just pass the turn here. I think on their end step will really. I don't think I'm supposed to mill anything here. Cycle the Baron more first. All right. All right. Got a little bit lucky that our mistake didn't get compounded there. Yeah, when they Field of Ruin my land, I should have flowed the mana and then cast Boil there. But we got lucky and they kind of went for a card draw spell again, and we were able to boil them then. Been a weird league so far. Go down game 1 against both Jund and Snow and still come out on top. Not complaining, but definitely been a weird league. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. A bunch of the Ikoria preview events been going on. The early access streams a lot of people have been doing, so a lot of people have been out in force doing some magic stuff. Awkward. I think this is a mulligan since we don't have access to red mana in our hands like all Renin 6s. You could argue Inquisition Discoos is good enough, but I think I'm going to mulligan this hand. This hand isn't great. I think we keep, kind of hope that our like that first hand. How many red sources do we run in this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is 16 enough to justify keeping there? Really? Okay, so it looks like we might be up against either humans or we're either up against humans or Death and Taxes, which I suppose this hand's fine against. Get the Kolaghan's command, shatter, hopefully kill something. Nope. Definitely Death and Taxes. Which I don't know how rough of a matchup actually is. Perfect. They might have Giver runes or something to put in here, which is obviously kind of annoying, but they're pitching an Arbiter. That's not good for us. Alright, Stoneforge Mystic, sure. Yeah, it really doesn't matter, my friend, because you're getting addicted. Okay. Yeah, we got another Thalia. Actually works out wonderfully. Now they have at least one hit in their hand. Thought Not Seer. Opponent's gonna swing in here. Force us to make the choice. I still think we block. Sure. Anything but a discard spell here would be good. It's an interesting question what I'm supposed to do exactly here. I'm just supposed to roll this up and keep it in play. Don't want to attack with Bloodbraid here. Not sure why you give me that information. Reason to play that Liliana out. It's just a matter of who top decks better. Looks like we're up against Eldrazi Taxes, mono white version. That Liliana certainly got its money's worth. I really love to draw a Tarmogoyf for something here. Pump it up to 3. Need one of these fetch lands in play to be able to trigger Revolt, but I think the other ones... So red, black. They're under a heck of a clock. Plus we have an on-board edict. Flicker Wisp feels like. Blade Splicer. Alright. Edict you. So I have like one turn to draw something relevant. Not see here, really doesn't do much here. It's got a block, I'll draw his card. Sure. Once again, leaving that last fetch land in play to be able to trigger Revolt with a Fatal Push. Alright. That was a long, grinding game for how it started out. Let's see. Leon and Arbiter. Sideboard. I could have some Gideons that could have some mirror enforcers. The cards, first off, we're not interested in are these Ashioks. Does Blade Splicer change whether I want to bring in Infernal Reckoning? Definitely want the Plague Engineers. Might want Baloth. Might want Clothis. So they could be bringing in Rest in Peace, which is certainly something they're capable of doing. We go down a Goyf and a crazy to turn the Croxa? Down a Goyf and a Croxa, that way we're less vulnerable to Rest in Peace here. Make sure to crack our fetch lands first here. Don't want to get got by like double Leon Arbiter, so ground Everground Tomb. Position you. Mind Sensor, Mind Sensor. Bird Wizard. Stoneforge obviously annoying, allowing them to be able to search up a sword of their choice. I'm grabbing here. Guess Stomping Ground. Just to have our mana fixed as well as possible. Mind Sensor obviously annoying. Bird. These guys are wizards. Bird. Okay. Not exactly the best. I guess it's okay against Jund. We're going to go for the bird into Ghost Quarter. Cool. Maybe we'll get lucky. Did not. Okay. Let's get the bird wizard out of the way. No, they have. I think these two are the only knowns in hand. Yep. Have to get Thought Knots here, don't I? they could flicker this, attack Ren, but Ren's already kind of done its job. So now I'm really hoping for a Cool Guns command or a Assassin's Trophy, I suppose. I guess we can cycle this, give us another draw at something. Alright, come on, Bloodbird Elf. Let's find me a good one. I don't know that Inquisition's a particularly good one here. Oop. That was like our one chance to get Batterskull. Blink, blink. Okay. Swing 7. Another case we're having why? Okay. Thoughtseize. Yep. Like, I don't care about the board state per se, other than freaking. Like, if I find the answer to Batterskull, between that and the Thoughtseize, I think we're good here, but that's the problem. Is finding an answer to that Thoughtseize. Alright, so let's start by getting rid of that guy. Let's play this out. And now let's back into an old-fashioned slugfest here. Okay, mildly annoying. 7/7 for striker, not exactly great for us. Come on, cool guns come in, Assassin's Trophy, something one time. I mean, they could have drawn Batterskull or another Stoneforge at some point, so maybe it was worth... Sure. You want to trade lands for lands? I'm cool with that. They're both prevented from searching your library. Gotta chump block here, otherwise we're pretty well dead on board. Your own Leading Arbiter screws you a little bit. Don't know. File for comp. Like, I feel for him, but, like... Gotta pay before and indeed, sometimes it does. Alright, so pay for this. Oh, looks like the Arbiter's screwing us both. Leona, don't think it matters here, so we're just pretty much dead on board. I think we're supposed to bring these pillages in. It says destroy target artifact. What are we supposed to board out then? Close this maybe. It's kind of dumb to bring that in the face of potential rest in pieces. So let's play first. Hand's fine. Hand's great. Bad stuff. value in case they have like a Giver of Runes here. Sweet. To go, nope. Green, red. Plenty of value in our hand. Let's see if we can convert it. Sure. Give up the ability to fetch an Assassin's Trophy, potentially. Depending on what they're trying to protect here. Thought Not Seer would be somewhat unfortunate. Blades Placer is kind of annoying. And the question is, do I trophy this Giver of Runes? I think the answer is yes. Use us vulnerable to exactly whatchamacallit? It does feel painful to do this, but there's a Baloth. Hopefully they don't have a path. Seems like they don't, unless they have Arbiter into. Yep, that one's annoying. Need to rip a Liliana or something here. Liliana, Pillage, Cool Guns, Command. Sure. They get to untap their lands, which is really frickin' annoying. Search up Batter Skull. Oh, you have Blade Splicer too, sure. We're supposed to spin the wheel here and hope to get a little bit lucky. Still have the Batter Skull coming down this turn. Well, I guess if they get greedy, we won't, but... They're attacking Wrenn and 6 this time. Okay. Wonder what changed. Alright, so there's a lot of things. Yeah. Got one more draw step here. Yep, they're going for lethal, so I can't particularly blame them, I guess. Push the golem, go to 1. Not much to say there. Sometimes you just draw the wrong half of your answers. I'll draw this game, which is kind of unfortunate. I think Jund is one of the decks that might care about play draw the least. That's a bit of an awkward hand. Don't think we can keep this hand. This hand isn't a ton better. I mean, at least it has something, I guess. Put back, basic mountain. Tron again, huh? Are they on the Eldrazi variety or are they on the... Still don't know. So I guess we'll let them search something up here. Okay, so they're on green Tron, sure. Sure, when it rains it pours, I suppose. We just trophy tower here. When you have yourself set up to be in a decent shot, you can't draw gas. Kind of annoying. Which means they'll have Tron in 2 turns. Then they get to play Relic this turn, which isn't particularly relevant. Like, should have bolted there at the end of the turn, I think. Like, Bloodbraid, the only thing can hit of meaningful relevance would be the other Assassin's Trophy in our 760. If you could, like, pass the turn, that'd be great. Sure. Let's see what you hit. O-Stone and Ancient Stirrings. Neither of which are particularly good for us. Take the guaranteed one. We'll get lucky and they'll blow the relic here at the end of turn. Sure. Yeah, that's a hard one to beat. Extra fire red here. So 3 plus 4, 4 plus 5 plus bolt is enough to kill that over 2 turns. Obviously a lot can go wrong with this plan, but it's the plan we got. Yep. Like I said, a lot can go wrong with this plan. Alright, definitely want 2 copies of Pillage. Definitely want at least 1 Infernal Reckoning, maybe 2. Bring in that. Fatal Pushes are kind of garbage in this matchup. Bolts aren't great either. Like I said, Infernal Reckoning isn't great, but at least it's a answer to Wormcoil Engine. Which is generally one of the cards that they like to lean on pretty heavily against us. Like, obviously we can beat Tron, we did it earlier in the league, but trying to do it twice, down a game back to back. Sure. It's a decent hand. We really want to rip a 3rd land. But like the curve of Thoughtseize into Kroxa into Liliana feels pretty appealing. So 1 land. So Am I supposed to take Expedition Map, hope they don't rip a land for a couple turns, and we can blow up the other Expedition Map, or am I supposed to take their payoffs? I feel like I'm supposed to keep them from assembling Tron, so here's to it. Or if they get silly and use one of the spheres this turn. Okay, there's that, and there's map. Am I supposed to Crocs them, or am I supposed to Goyf? I feel like I'm supposed to get a clock down. Crocs is fine, but I don't think, without guaranteeing a third land. So I could Croxa and try to, like Kolaghan's Command Liliana, empty their hand. Or I can get a clock down and hope to get them that way. I don't think either way we're in great shape. Yep. That was one thing I was trying to avoid, was them ripping another land. Let's go ahead and Crocs the main phase to get another. At least the positive note with this particular exchange is the fact that Goyf will at least be a 3-4. But we really need to rip a third land there for like Liliana. What do they pitch? Probably just one of the spheres, right? Stirrings, of course. Yep. So now 3 of the 4 cards in their hand. Question is, am I supposed to Thoughtseize or am I supposed to I think I was supposed to Thoughtseize first. Now we're going to miss out a point of damage. So like I could Kolaghan's Command, force them to discard a card. But I think I'm just supposed to Thoughtseize here and hope to get a little bit lucky. Poor sequencing on my part, but why would they do that in response? Relic, Ugin. Yeah, I guess we're taking Relic there. That's their hand. Their hand is amazing. In the tower. Nope. Alright, I mean, go us, I guess. Awkward. Alright, target player discards card. Just to increase the damage here. Do believe this puts them on a 2-turn clock. Puts them to 12, that's to 5. Yeah, this will put them on a 2-turn clock. So 12 to 10. Yeah, if they discard Worm Coil Engine here, we don't quite have the 2-turn clock. So maybe it was a mistake to not Liliana here. Alright, did you rip the Tron land? Unfortunately, you did. I hate Tron sometimes. Alright, so they get to Karnas. And they weren't called Longinus. Infernal Reckoning one time. Spin the wheel. The Glyph isn't terrible, but then Ugin just gets to clean up, so... Yep. Alright, well, that was fun. Alright, one more match this morning. Alright, one final match. Try to get the 3-2 here. Pretty easy mulligan here. Is this a mulligan? So we have bolts. If we rip a second land, the Ren 6 is likely online. I'm going to risk keeping it. This hand has a high enough upside against enough matchups. Once again, probably could be a mulligan. Gobble. Nope, Riftbolt. Alright, so we're up against Burn. Don't really. Bad hand. Probably gonna get Eidolon here. Riftbolt. Sure. Glad we didn't shock in there. Do 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 do. Yep. Land, please. Yield the return. Question is, what am I pitching here? Guess I'm pitching a Fatal Push, because, you know, why not? Alright, I'm going to get embarrassed by Burn game 1. One land, 6 hand. All right. Oh, this is so stupid. Yep. How to die? I guess I could be bolting face, but it really doesn't matter, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things. Alright, so Burn. A couple copies of Collective Brutality, copy of Obstinate Baloth, copy of Clothis. Easily get these out of the deck. Plague Engineer is fine in this matchup. Cards actually aren't good. Well, can probably shave like one copy of Renin 6, 2 copies of Seize. And the rest of the deck's pretty good. Double Tron, Bant Snow, and so far Alright. This is certainly a keepable hand against Burn. So we're taking a lot of damage from our lands, but I think nevertheless it is worth it. So if I grab Blood Crypt here, then I can grab Forest next turn. Alternatively, I can grab I hate taking damage in this matchup, but whoop, there it is. Alright, so Goblin Guide. Have the bolt for that. Boros Charm. Give them the Goblin Guide. What do I take? Is the question mark. And it's still pretty good. Alright, so I think I take either Charm or one of the 1 damage spells here. I think it's just Charm, just raw damage here. Next turn we'll play Brutality. Give me a land, please. Give me a land. Trigger. Leon of the Veil. Okay. So what do I grab here is the question mark. Really hate shocking myself this much damage. Escalate. That. Escalate. Pitching that. Eliana. Take bolt. There's another Goblin Guide, which is fine. We have the answer to that. Okay, Forest is a nice draw. A 12. We'll suspend Rift Bolt. Now they have Lava Spike and Ren 6 is pretty good here. So actually can't play Ren 6 right now. Obviously we're opening ourselves up to Boros Charm a little bit. Okay. Swift Spear is not great for us. Trophy's not great, but it's not bad either. Alright, now I'm just gonna have to hope they brick for a turn. So curious what they drew. Okay. GG's. Alright. Well, I mean, definitely an interesting spot. That last game against Burn there, leaving in Searing Blaze is generally not something I like to do, but in that spot it was obviously probably their best draw. But the rest of that league, so like the matchups weren't great for us in terms of the matchups we faced. Like double Tron's rough. Splitting that felt pretty good. Beating Snow felt pretty good. Losing to I think Eldrazi Taxes was kind of the one that's like in my crawl because we had so many live draws and yet didn't quite hit him. The only decision point I think there that I kind of regret was we Inquisitioned one of the birds and then they Stone Forged for Batterskull, and Batterskull ended up with basically beating us. Of course, the obvious issue was like they had the Celestial Purge for Plague Engineer, and then having multiple even Mind Sensors to deal with just might have been in too much. So I'm not sure we would have won that game either way, but that was certainly a decision point to consider. And then against Burn, obviously I kept a greedy hand game one on the back of trying to rip a fetch land or something with Ren and 6. I still think that hand might have been defensible. Maybe it was supposed to throw a couple bolts at the face to save some cards in the hand. But I don't think in the end that resources were going to be the issue. I think it was just the fact that we were going to die to the burn spells. And then obviously they played well. And they kept in cards that I don't like to keep in against Jund, but you know, everybody has their range of cards they like to keep in like killing Scavenging Ooze, killing Bloodbraid Elf is perfectly defensible. But I still think if you have better cards to bring in, that Blaze isn't the best in the Burn versus Jund matchup. But in that spot, it was perfectly. It was like their best draw. So kind of hard to dispute their choice there. As far as our build, like obviously, you know, I think we were a little geared towards the blue decks, which makes sense. Helped us win the matchup. Not complaining about that. I don't know about the Ashiok's main. That was like a list that I saw posted on Twitter about a week and a half ago. Wanted to try that. I don't think it was the best. I think if we would have had like the other Bloodbraid Elf and a Maelstrom Pulse, I would have felt a lot better about our main deck. And then the sideboard, like maybe you could like put the other Ashiok in the sideboard and then cut an Infernal Reckoning. I don't know. Just felt like this list wasn't quite optimal, but I did want to try the Ashioks in the main. We just didn't run into the right matchups, and maybe the meta is kind of slowly shifting away from those Titan Shift decks or Primeval Titan decks that was really good against. So, anywho, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. Wasn't interesting matchups. Did a lot of thinking. Obviously not the best result, but can't really complain overall about what went on. Played a lot of tough matchups, gave us a lot of thought process. We won a lot of games, even in some difficult spots. So sometimes you don't, especially with Jund, sometimes you don't rip the right answer at the right time and you die. That's just the nature of Black-Green X sometimes. And there were certainly a couple cans that I kept there that were kind of questionable. So sometimes I like to take risks and see if they pay off. I kind of try to judge hands, and maybe that's the old Mulligan rule way of thinking. I judge hands on the basis of, like, what's the payoff for keeping this hand, and maybe I'm supposed to be a little bit more Mulligan more aggressively, especially since Jund's generally not a critical mass deck like something like Burn. So lessons to be learned as a player in this league. So this has been John for MTG Nexus. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and give us a follow here over on Twitch.